So is your app
things like
essentially
that.
like a data union in itself?
Yeah, yeah. So how I would describe our app is it's really kind of like online banking, but for your data.
Okay.
So just like how you can download a bank these days via an app and import all your financial data, be it whether it's Barclays, HSBC, or anything like that, you can download our app and you'll be able to sign into your Google account, your LinkedIn account, your Facebook account, and it will import all that data into one central location. And then from there, you'll have some central privacy controls. And further down the line, you'll be able to make money off it directly yourself.
So you'd see exactly where and what your data is being used for.
Yeah, pretty much. So in the case, I mean, there's lots of different types of data. Many people don't understand, what this data is doing or whatever. So for example, if you use a VPN, you might be a little bit aware of what an IP address is. Every time you sign onto the internet, you got a little address of where and what kind of device you accessed it from. But if you were to look at an IP address, most people wouldn't be able to dissect what the hell that means. But you have the legal right to request all that data from Google, but they'd send it to you in all this kind of strange format. You wouldn't know what to do with it. So we're in this kind of place as like an everyday consumer where I'm aware that this data is being used to track me. Somehow it's being used to kind of exploit me in some sort of way, maybe my kids, my family. But I have absolutely no tools to understand how this works. So you wouldn't see a bunch of IP addresses. For example, in our app, you'd see a history of all your locations. And you say, damn, okay, I remember going to that address. But it's strange to think that Google knew that too. Okay. Be it whatever the platform is, we'll hopefully be able to show you in a more easy to understand way. So hopefully it'll give people a little bit of sense of control, that they can see that data in front of them. And then from there, they can see or set some preferences. So some universal privacy controls.
But are you able to control that? Like, are you able to have that control where these big Google won't be able to get that information?
Look, I mean, you actually have a remarkable amount of rights. So the EU has really been pushing since what's called the General Data Protection Act, I think around 2015, 2016. They've been really pushing to respect that people's data or insights about your personal information, insights about you, are your property. So you have property rights about them. So you could actually go to, and it doesn't have to be big tech, it could be a loyalty card program, it could be the supermarket. You could go up to any employee of a supermarket, let's say Sainsbury's, and say, I would like you to send me all of my data. And they have to respect that that's your property. Right.
Wow.
It could be a cashier. Now, they may not be able to, the cashier instantly hack into the mainframe and send it to you, but they would have to escalate that. They take down your name, they take down your email address, and within a month, they would have to respond to that. Now, obviously, these businesses, they put a lot of more, let's say, difficult interfaces in the middle of that to make it slightly difficult. And we know, just because we've done the research, how simple it can be. It can be literally as simple as just sending an email to their data protection officer. Every company will have a registered data protection officer, and they'll have to respond to that within 1 month. The trouble is that it will come in what's called JSON file format. And most people don't know how to read that kind of code. It's like a JavaScript code. So what our app will do is, look, all you do is tell us where your data is, and you select, let's say, the loyalty card programs you're a member of, sign into your different big tech accounts, and we'll just do the rest. It all just gets automated. Okay,
nice.
It's really cool. So all you have to do is sign what's called an authorization document. So that makes us your representative in the data market. You need to kind of just like joining a bank, you have to verify your ID to make sure it's your data you're requesting. So that's why I think the parallel between what we're providing is really similar to online banking. So people are pretty well conditioned now to download a bank onto an app, onto their mobile phone, but they expect to have to prove their ID to scan a picture of their face and prove their address and things like that. Once we've verified who you are and you've signed an authorization doc, it's just super easy. You can just choose a business and we'll import the data.
I think that's really good because, as you said, now data is more valuable than money, and all these companies are collecting our data, but where's our piece of the pie? So it's like, I wish I could sell my data, all these people, and I get a check.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit nice way to kind of, I guess, have a piece of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think you got to be cautious, especially in the early days of this industry, of saying how much you're actually going to make from your data. For example, I've heard some platforms, they really advertise how much money Google makes from your data. So on average, I think it's estimated, it's difficult to estimate, but it's estimated that about kind of £30 a month or £35 a month that Google will make from your data. So for example, you can get to that estimation by how they might value a company before they acquire it. So let's just make up an example. Google is going to acquire a fitness franchise. Okay, let's say like Pure Gym or something like that. Now they know that the gym business is one thing, but all the data that they have on these people when they go to the gym, let's say like they sign into the machines and stuff like that, that becomes quite a valuable acquisition for Google because they know with the Fitbit data that they have, because Google owns Fitbit, how much they can monetize that data from. So they will value that data within that company,
Oh,
within their
Google owned
ecosystem.
Fitbit,
Yeah.
Wow.
and they're
Yeah.
tracking everything. Right?
Yeah,
That's good.
exactly. So they might say, okay, you've got like, 100,000 people in this gym franchise. We know that data is super valuable, so we'll agree to buy it for that much. You can get to a sort of idea of how much they value data. The trouble is that that's how much your data is worth within Google. Like just because you create a browser, let's say, doesn't necessarily mean that, the first 100,000 people using that browser are going to be able to monetize their data in the same way. And that's because Google really functions more for the digital marketers. And it's important not to demonize the digital marketers, like these people who run businesses, they're business owners and things like that. And they find it as hard to leave the Google platform as we do, right? So yeah, there's going to be different ways and different takes on how we're going to monetize our data in data unions, and we can get into that and how we're doing it. But to begin with, it's about control. It's about, first of all, let's get it in an account where you can see it, you can understand it, you can protect your kids' privacy a little bit better, see what's happening on these social media sites and whatnot.